Hi everyone, in this video I'll show how to build a wireless split keyboard for around $25. Since I bought my first mechanical keyboard, I've had the urge to modify it. The day I got it, I started modding it with everything I'd seen on YouTube. I did all the non-messy stuff, cutting and lapping the stabilizers, adding tape to the PCB, and even adding small rubber rings between each keycap for smoother presses. Since then, I've been really interested in mechanical keyboards. I even created a macro path for one of my classes. I wrote the code in CircuitPython, and if you want, you can check out the project on my GitHub page right after this video. I also made a small device with my team at a hackathon that logs you in and out of Google Classroom using just two buttons, which I count as a keyboard. I recently discovered split ergonomic keyboards. At first, I didn't see myself using such a weird shaped keyboard, but my interest kept growing until I really wanted one. When I searched for a Corne keyboard, I was surprised by how expensive they were. I understand needing two microcontrollers to control both halves and everything times 2, but $160 for an unassembled keyboard seemed too much for me. So I decided to build my own, knowing that it would be much cheaper. I want it to be wireless since I plan to carry it around, and I don't want any extra cables. I also want it to be low profile so it wouldn't take up much space when stored. Those are my main criteria, so I started choosing the components. After watching countless YouTube tutorials on building wireless split keyboards, the Nice Nano board stood out. I was convinced that this would be the perfect development board for my project. However, when I checked the price, I was shocked to see it was $28 for one, and I needed two. Additionally, I wasn't sure if it could be shipped to me since all the sellers were located on the opposite side of the continent. So I went to AliExpress, hoping to find a cheaper Nice Nano. Instead, I found a Pro microcontroller using the same chip as the Nice Nano. I figured this would work, and when the boards arrived, I discovered it actually used the same firmware as the Nice Nano. And here are the rest of the parts that we're gonna need. Two batteries, switches, 3D printed parts, keycaps, diodes, and slide switches. After the components arrived, I started with the keyboard plate, which I designed in Fusion 360 along with the case. I designed the plate first so I could build the case around it. You can find the STL files in my GitHub repository, but I advise against using mine since I had warping issues on the left side from my both battery, and the slide switch hole might not match the dimensions of the components you have. When I printed the first version, I discovered I'd made the screw support points too skinny and they broke easily. The slide switch hole was also too small. This sent me back to Fusion to fix these issues before printing again. While printing the new case, I started wiring the keyboard. There are many tutorials online you can follow. Joe Scotto particularly dominates when it comes to hand-wired keyboards. I even followed his videos to build the macropad I mentioned earlier. I need to clarify something that confused me at first. In different videos, the diode connection to the pins on the switch varied. But the key point is that there's no specific pin you must connect the diode to because the switch legs are identical. They just close or break the electrical circuit when pressed. They have no polarity or specific function. You can connect them to either pins on the switch. The diode's direction is important though. The node needs to connect to the switch and the cathode goes to the opposite direction. You can identify the cathode by its black line. I'm using the 1N4148 silicon signal diodes, which are the most popular around hand-wired keyboards. In my build, I use the conductor on the cathode side to form the rows and separate wires to connect the columns. Remember to isolate where rows and columns intersect, or you have problems with the keyboard sending wrong signals. This wiring method is used because our boards have a limited number of contacts. If each switch were connected to a separate pin, we need a much larger board with many more connections. The matrix configuration significantly reduces the number of required contacts. When you press a switch, it sends a signal to two pins, one for the row and one for the column. The board then identifies their intersection and sends the corresponding key signal to the host device. It's similar to a chessboard, where in tournaments players record their moves using coordinates like Na3, meaning the knight moved to a square at column A and row 3. If you're using my plate and case files, be careful with wire routing around the screw holes. Keep those areas empty so everything fits tightly. You can tuck the row and column cables under the switch connecting wires for a cleaner fit and easier soldering later. The wiring to the microcontroller is a bit messy because we are using ZMK firmware, which doesn't have options for Nice Nano boards, only for Pro Micro, and the pinout is different. Both boards label their pins differently even though they're in the same places. For the battery, connect the negative wire to a ground pin on the microcontroller. Connect the positive wire to one of the side pins on the slide switch. Then connect the middle pin of the slide switch to the raw pin. After wiring, slide the plate onto the case, but first apply hot glue behind the board so it's stable when powered by cable. Put the slide switch in its place and secure it with hot glue to prevent movement. With split keyboards, the left half is usually the main one that connects to the device. The right half sends information to the left one, which then sends it to the computer. This means the left side's battery will drain faster, but according to ZMK, the keyboard should run for over a month with a 500 mAh batteries. I chose to use ZMK, which is built on top of Zephyr and is designed for wireless keyboards. When I started learning it, it was the first time I had ever read documentation so carefully. This is because there aren't many good tutorials online. Remember that ZMK isn't a programming language, so you won't get any error detections, and every missed symbol can break the firmware. When I couldn't generate the necessary code, I found Christian Selig's video about building Calendra, which is a custom wireless split keyboard. I found his GitHub profile and started reverse engineering. Honestly, just copying his code with modifications. If you make the same mistake as me of having your computer, smartphone, tablet or any device that have Bluetooth, forget the keyboard's Bluetooth connection, you won't be able to reconnect even after reflashing. This happens because the chip remembers its previous device connections. To fix this, flash the keyboard with the setting reset file from the firmware folder, then reflash the regular firmware for each half. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it, feel free to leave a comment, like and subscribe. If you used the code from GitHub and found it useful, I'd really appreciate it if you could give the repository a star. And for those wondering, here is a sound test.